Leadership is complex. A conference that returns to downtown Chattanooga this week for its second year aims to empower professionals to grow as leaders at any stage of their careers. The Ascension Leadership Conference, organized by Hinton Company in partnership with the Chattanooga Area Chamber of Commerce, is Thursday at the Marriott downtown. Wade Hinton is CEO of Hinton Company. Wade, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ray. It's great to be here with you, as always.
Tell us more about Ascension.
Ascension is a leadership conference. It's in its second year, and it's aimed at emerging leaders and mid-career professionals who want to take their careers to the next level. We really, in our conversations with leaders and organizations, we find that we have great organizations, great structures, right? But sometimes the leadership at the mid-level management and emerging leader level as well, they might be missing a couple of those skills that can take the organization and their team to that next level. And so we thought it was really important to create an environment where they could come in, hear from experts on everything from managing talent to how to show up and with that executive presence that can create a pathway for them to make progress at their organization.
How does this year's conference build on the first conference last year?
Last year's conference was about positioning yourself. This year's discussion really is around now that I've arrived. Right. So if you think, this goes back to many lessons that I've learned along my professional career. And that was when you first start into the workforce, right? And especially for those who may be new to the corporate environment, you're taught, keep your head down, you'll get promoted. That's the way that it works. Well, we know that in reality, it's really about performance is important. You got to work hard, but it's also important to have the image and exposure, right? That visibility from leadership in the organization. So how do you make sure you're positioning yourself to get that opportunity, to get that promotion? And again, for this year, it's like once you're there, how do I actually show up in a way that I can deliver, right? That I can not only provide the support that my team members that are reporting into me need, but I can also connect and communicate effectively with the leadership.
And also how you show up in a post-pandemic workplace, whether your workplace ever pivoted to working from home or is back in the office now, or whatever the circumstances.
That's right. I mean, your culture is what you make it, right? And you can be intentional about that, or it can just happen. And so for leaders, we want to encourage them to try to create the kind of culture you want, right? And so whether it's a virtual setting, remote setting, right, or in office setting, your people want to feel engaged, they want to feel connected. And so how do you do that as a leader, especially for those who might be first-time people leaders?
The word that comes to mind is dexterity. We talk about it often in a physical sense, right, but here we're talking about it in a leadership sense, in a workplace sense.
You have to do it. And not only is it great, obviously, for attracting and retaining talent, right? I think that talent wants to be trusted that they can work at home, right? That creates a sense of culture and connection and engagement. But it's also good for just business, right? I mean, I will tell you, we're headquartered here in Chattanooga, but we have a ton of clients outside of the city. Some we've never met. It's been completely virtual. So when you can, to your point, master both, right, the virtual remote environment as well as sort of the physical space and physical setting, you're definitely setting yourself apart.
Which businesses, which organizations need these skills the most, need to fortify these skills the most? Some of these principles are basic and are necessary to any business, any organization, whether we're talking about a small business or we're talking about a large corporation.
Well, I think that's right. And what we're seeing is we have everything from a small business to a large corporation. And so we are excited that we're able to provide the kinds of tools, the kinds of skills that can be applied to any organization. And I think for many of those folks that have been placed in the management role that have made that leap, what they can find is I've been promoted because I've done a great job, but I don't necessarily have those skills to flourish. No one really talked to me about how do I prioritize those things. I'm getting all of these great tasks, if you will, and to-dos, and as part of my job, right, coming down from leadership, but I also have to manage a team. Right. And so how do I do all of these things at the same time and show up in a way that really allows me to be my best self? And so you can be at a nonprofit and experience that. You can be at a Fortune 500 and experience that. And so this is why we're excited. We have great sponsorship and support across the board. Right. So you think about a Unum, who's our signature sponsor, a large organization, fantastic. I'm a little biased because I work there, right? But fantastic learning and development team, fantastic inclusion and diversity team. And they have a great culture, right? At the same time, they also know it's great to get different perspectives. And so they have a good number of folks showing up, right? So we also have sponsorship from the Community Foundation and Benwood and EPB and others. They understand a couple of things. One, it's about investing in their people. But more so, what these sponsors get is that it's about creating a really good ecosystem of talent in our region, right? Thinking beyond their four walls.
And how have you navigated, how have you helped businesses and organizations navigate some of the work that you do now, some of the work that you've done in the past that we've talked about here on Scenic Roots, given the headlines, given the current climate?
Yeah, so our firm initially started out focusing specifically around DEI and inclusion. But what we found, Ray, was we were getting, because of just our backgrounds and experiences, we could provide insight into communications, we could provide insight into leadership development. And a couple of years ago, we said, based on these conversations we were having with organizations, let's really focus on this leadership development because there is a skills gap here where people could show up. And so while this conference doesn't focus on inclusion, what we say is that it's really important to have those skills to create the kind of culture you want again. And so we hope that those that attend, and the reason we're doing it, because we had great reviews from last year, is they walk away knowing how they can show up for the people that report into them, that they know how they can show up for those coworkers, those who are working alongside them, that they can support and see them and have that empathy and emotional intelligence that we all need, and really be that leader that they always wanted to have.
Leading is about belonging.
It is about belonging and creating that space for others, right? And when you can do that, you stop thinking about it, me versus you, or us versus them. It's all of us. We're all in this organization. And so when you think about your role as a leader, is how do you create an environment where people feel safe enough to come up with those innovative ideas? How can we make sure that we have the kind of relationship where I know that by me giving you actionable feedback, it is not a criticism, it is a gift, and it's going to allow you to actually thrive and be better at what you do and deliver more for the organization, but also help you be your best self.
And for people who want to learn more about Ascension, where can they go online?
They can go to hintonandco.com, HINTONANDCO.com. You can see there on the banner, we have Ascension. And I will tell you, the conference is April 10th. And I would ask people, just one, if you have not bought a ticket, we're running really close. So we sold out last year. We anticipate doing the same. So please, I'm going to encourage you, if you have folks in your organization, if you're an HR leader or CEO, to send folks to the conference. If you're a leader, a young leader, and are interested in taking your career to the next level, we also have some sponsorship letters that you can get and use to ask your organization to sponsor you to attend the conference. So we love to see you in the place. It's a great time. Like, we have a DJ, we have all kinds of things going on. It's not the typical conference.
All right, Wade, thanks so much.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it.